Understanding what to actually look for in a tyre is probably something that not many people think about. Sure, we have our favourites that we always stick to, but what about trying something else? What should we think about when we're trying out a different tyre? My sponsor Kenda has sent me some prototype Hellcat tyres, and former pro racer and team owner Fabien Cousinet has popped over to share some of his knowledge with me. He's been developing tyres with Kenda for a number of years and has an engineering background. The goal for today is for me to give some feedback on what I initially think of these tyres, but also learn about how tyres are actually tested by someone as experienced as Fab. But by the end of the day, I would also learn some new things about tyre setup that I never thought were possible.
Tyre is a little bit like religion. Everyone believes some different stuff, and so I will share my vision of a tyre choice.
Don't tell me about these tyres. I'm going to see if I can depict what I should be feeling.
The tyres are marked with a code that is used by the engineers to identify which compound and casing is on each tyre. The batch I have is the B batch, and I have tyres 2 and 3 from this group, meaning that the front and rear tyres here are exactly the same.
Wow, Paul doing his own stunt.
Guys, I'm a professional athlete. I do my own thing.
Athletes, are you sure about that? Are you sure about this word, Paul? So I had a discussion about the definition of what we call those great people that makes a lot of media and ride their bike professionally, but call themselves athletes, ambassador, influencers. Yeah, I'd like to keep athletes for people that cross finish lines.
I'm a content creator.
Here we go.
That's it. But like 20% professional athlete.
Well, tell me about those 20%. What's inside those 20%?
That is my fitness ratio from me to an actual professional athlete.
Yeah, so you stand in pretty much between 8 years old and 12 years old.
I got off on the wrong foot with Fab here, and I chose the easy life and put my tyres on with a tyre lever. Fab was of course disgusted by this and shows me that if you keep as much tension on the tyre as you go around the rim, then flip the wheel over keeping that tension, you can then get the last bit of the tyre on using your palms and not your fingers.
Going.
He's not even looking.
Like a charm.
I'm actually really impressed with
I told you, I think I got it down.
I'm really impressed. So that was 3 years of mechanical engineering to do that?
That is 10 years of privateer racing with absolutely ridiculous tire rim fit from years where it should not be allowed to sell products that cannot fit on wheels.
When I picked up these tyres for the first time, it was clear that the casing being used was lighter than the advanced gravity casing or AGC Hellcats that I'd previously been using.
Now, Fab, I'm not going to lie, I don't really know why people do this, but it kind of looks cool.
Maybe there's a girls around, you know, like...
I knew that's why I did it, right.
Show the gun, like...
Again, I don't know what this is doing, but how cool do those tan walls look? Are they going to sell these tan walls?
I don't know.
It's just for prototype.
I think at the moment it is.
That's cool.
Fab suggested we go and ride a trail called Ditch Pig, a black trail that has a bit of everything. It has some fast berms, some loose surfaces, and some rocky and rooty sections thrown in as well. I put on the other tyre, definitely by myself without any tyre levers and certainly no help from Fabien, and we headed out to the trail. Just before dropping in, I told Kuskus that I was going to run 23 psi in the back and 21 in the front, which is the same tyre pressure that I'd been using in the other tyres. He replied by telling me that he runs 21 psi in the back and 19 psi in the front. His philosophy is to go as low as possible with this tyre pressure until you find the limit, and that limit can be found in 2 ways. The first one being that you're starting to hit the rim on the rocks of the trail. He also says that yes, you can solve this by putting more air in, or potentially you could take a different and smoother line. The other way of finding that limit is blowing out the tyre on the inside of a corner, which is more likely to happen when the conditions are drier and you're riding a harder packed trail. So that is why he's chosen these tyre pressures today. He gets me started by making sure I'm not overthinking about the tyres, telling me to ride the trail and feel the twist of the tyre and the grip underneath.
So how do you feel so far?
I think in terms of grip, I can feel the tyre knobs are maybe a bit softer because I feel a lot more grip on the soft stuff than I was expecting.
Let's get more riding in. Let's go a bit faster. Yeah, let's try to put some G-forces on those tires. Like even those corners, let's do it again. Like I think you can push more in those corners.
So I tried to ride a bit faster. I mean, not as fast as Fabien, of course.
For me, this is where I find in that zone the critical G-forces.
You can see in these slow-mos that Fab's tyre is folding a lot more than mine. Not only is he riding faster, but remember that his tyre pressures are lower than mine. And at no point did he describe these tyres as squirming underneath him.
Oh my god. So what have you learned from the tyres on that bit?
Pretty much you see where I drop off when I land on this rock. This is like, it's where I will expect the tire to fail me.
And when you say fail, do you mean it's just going to fold over and
yeah,
collapse?
fall over and I'd be like deflected because it fall too much. So, but it was actually okay. You know that you don't want to get too much lower pressure if you kind of have those kind of scenario happen on routes.
Before, when I said it was digging into the ground, Fab's actually helped me understand what I was trying to say, which was it felt softer because I could stop better. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, more comfortable.
Yeah.
Fabien suggested that I should still try and be even rougher with the tyres as he starts really pushing into the compressions, trying to get that tyre to fail. I then told Fabien that I wasn't feeling the tyre was squirming as much as I thought it would do at these lower pressures, and that perhaps maybe there was something different with the side knobs because I was expecting to slip out, but I didn't. He then pointed out that it's really important to test tyres in lots of different conditions, because perhaps it's just a bit grippier today than it has been since I rode it last time.
I want to try less tyre pressure.
Remember what I told you?
I know.
You go as low as possible until you have a problem.
I'm going to try 19, 21. I'm going to go below the 20s.
You've seen I'm riding 19, and did you see how much I'm pushing, charging?
And you're going way faster than me.
You know what? If I were you, I would feel confident running 17.
What?
Yeah, I sometimes ride 17.
And then I dropped in using the lowest tyre pressure I'd ever used on what I felt like was a very light tyre casing.
That was so much nicer.
You felt it?
Oh yeah. It felt like the tyre was complying more to the ground. It was like...
Yeah, this is what you want, eh?
Yeah.
You want as much contact point on the ground as possible.
To test this new confidence, Couscous wanted me to take this tricky wide line over some slippery routes. It was pretty intimidating, and my first attempt saw me bail out as I rolled in. But as my trust was growing in what this lower tyre pressure was doing for me, I went back up and did it a whole lot better.
You could hear how squirmy your tyres were on the way in. Is that how you were able to turn so sharply, do you think?
I don't know if it's the reason why, but this is a pretty technical jump because you have to make a sharp corner on the flat. But yeah, it's part of the game. Eh?
The next section has more of those wet, slippery routes that I am mortally afraid of. But while I was still nervous, my confidence was building as I actually rode over them faster with this new lower tyre pressure. And still no punctures. But at this point, I didn't really feel like I was learning very much about how to choose a tyre, because we had taken this different route of discovering just how much changing the tyre pressure can affect your riding. So we got back onto that topic, and Fabien said there are three main things to consider in a tyre: the compound, the tread pattern, and the casing. But he believes people spend too much time focusing on how soft the compound is, and perhaps overlook the importance of the casing that they are choosing.
Casing is really related to the pressure, and it's related to the feel you get. It's related to how easy the tire gonna flex and absorb all the deformation of the ground, or it's gonna deflect you.
We finished off the day, and I was surprised by how much my preconceived notions of how the tires would do differed to how they actually performed on the trail. Fab told me that the casing was likely 150 to 200 grams lighter than the AGC Hellcats that I'd been running before, and this was making it easier to handle the bike, and pedaling up was a lot more comfortable. But I wasn't hitting the rim and I certainly wasn't getting any punctures. So on this particular trail, this tyre choice would be golden. Fab revealed that the casing I had on these tyres was the AEC, or Advanced Enduro casing. My guess was that the side knobs were of a softer compound compared to the center knobs on the tread pattern. But Fab tells me that I had the same softer compound from my AGC tyres that I'd been running in this lighter casing. And by having a lighter casing and softer rubber, Fab says that the tyre is more supple and should make for better traction and grip on the trail.
So at the beginning, when I said I felt more confidence in my braking, I felt like I had better braking traction. Is that because I had the same durometer of rubber, but because it's lighter, it would be easier for me to slow down?
It will be because you have a lighter casing, it deforms a little bit more easily. So with also like let's say same tire pressure with a lighter casing, the tire feels softer. Pretty much, you know, it's kind of a stiff casing is one thing and tire pressure is another thing. So because you kept the same tire pressure at the beginning with a lighter casing, it automatically feels softer. So this is why as a start it felt softer, because the casing was lighter.
Fab suggests that I drop my tyre pressures even more until I'm really rolling the tyre, but make sure that I don't explode my wheels.
I generally think most of the people ride too much pressure for their speed.
Yeah.
If you are, I don't know, Loic Bruni, and you're going down like Val di Sol, like in the top of your confidence, you will want more tire pressure because you're a bullet, like going down crazy track. So yes, you put maybe closer to 30 psi and even, but I would say for normal people not making crazy bumps or crazy jumps, yeah, I think lower tire pressure will help your confidence, grip, and I don't know, you saw I had 17 psi today. I was still charging and it was okay.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't slowing you down. But you know what the best thing is, Fab? So if you live in the United States of America, you can click the link in the description below, use code PUNTER2021 and get 30% off a set of Kenda tires. That's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yes,
30% off some tires.
especially if you like to squeeze around.
If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button below. Obviously subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, but most importantly, watch it twice. Cheers punters, I'll see you next time.